Over the next week or so, I will be making this racing game in the Unity game engine. I will start by making a new 2D project in Unity and naming it Racing Game. Then I will hit Create. While the project is building, I will start by making the car for the game. I decided to go for a basic red car design with a top-down view. I started with a basic red body and some wheels and some boosters in the back. Then I added the top, windows, and window shields. Then I added a bit of texture and the car is complete. We can now put the sprite in the scene and it's looking pretty good. I'm going to quickly add a box collider and edit it a little bit to make it more accurate. Now all I have to do is make a quick movement script. The movement script is done and I should just be able to click play real quick and have a working car. The car now drifts and drives perfectly, as you can see, which means we can move on to making the most important part, the tracks. I just finished the tracks, which I made a sort of gravelly road type of texture with black borders on the edges. I can now click play and drift across this road, although I kinda suck at controlling right now, but I'm sure I'll get better as I play test more. I made a grass texture to put in the background so the road isn't just on a flat brown background. We are now starting to get an actual game going, and the track is starting to come together, but it is missing some details to make it come to life more, like some trees and buildings, so I think that's what I'm going to work on next. I just finished all the decoration for the forest area. I added some trees, piles of tires, and a couple buildings, which made the area much more interesting. It now feels like you are actually moving through a track in the forest instead of just a blank space in the middle of nowhere, but you can still run into whatever, so we need to fix that by making a fence. The fence has been added in, and it should hopefully be working. The fence should prevent you from hitting any of the outside buildings and actually make it a challenge to drive through the track, instead of just giving you unlimited room to drift wherever you want. I ran into a problem while playtesting though, which is that you go way too fast to see what is ahead of you, and you just end up bumping into it and losing all of your momentum. I thought a fix would be making a mini-map so you could see where you are. After a lot of testing and math, the mini-map is finally done. It shows a simplified version of the map on the top right corner and a red dot to represent the player in the minimap. The dot shows where the player is and makes it much easier to predict upcoming turns so you don't crash as much. No racing game would be complete without a miles per hour counter and a timer to show your time. I also added a countdown at the start of the race so you have a little time to get ready to start the race. The miles per hour counter caps out at about 120 miles per hour, and the lap counter tells you what lap you're on. You need to complete 3 laps before you end the race, and your time on the timer is final. With this level blueprint done, I was able to complete the first 4 levels, which are going to all be forest-themed levels. Each one has a different track, but they are all based around the same theme of a forest. I also added in fence corners, because they were looking a bit weird without corners. I decided I was going to make 12 total levels and change the theme every 4 levels. The theme for the next 4 levels I picked was a snowy land. I made new trees which were meant to look like pine trees with the spikes on each side. I also added in firewood piles on the side and new snowy buildings and igloos for you to drive by. I don't want the level difficulty to increase too much, I just want the main difference to be the background, which I feel like I accomplished with these levels. The last set of levels I made had the theme of a desert land. I tried to make palm trees by using a lighter green and separating the leaves a bit. For the buildings, I just used the buildings from the forest-themed levels, and I also added in an oasis with a pool and a few palm trees around it. Now that we have all the levels done, the next step is to make a main menu screen and a level selector screen. I made a main menu real quick with a play button that takes you to the level selector. The level selector is split into 3 pages, one for each theme, with the backgrounds changing as the theme changes. I just added a couple things to the main menu, including 2-player, but I'll get to that in a bit. The best time above each level now works and displays your best time, which is saved to your device every time you quit. You can now also play any of the levels by clicking on the corresponding level button. I also made a way to leave levels, so if you want to get out before finishing all 3 laps, you can do that now. The next new feature is a 2-player level selector, in a 2-player version of all the tracks, which took forever to make. It is a split-screen format with WASD and arrow keys controlling red and blue respectively. Instead of a best time, the 2-player levels just say who won at the end of each level and don't save any data. The game is mostly done, but is still missing an essential part of every game, which is sound. I found this engine sound and decided to use it. I also made a select sound and buttons in JSFXR. The last thing I need is some music, so I found another nice track in Pixabay, which will be linked in the description. I just got to put these in the showcase, and then we are ready for the showcase. Before we get to the showcase, I would really appreciate if you subscribed, because this is a new channel and every person helps. Anyways, on to the showcase.